Hello and welcome back to City Skylines, ladies and gentlemen. Today is part 30 of our vanilla Let's Play, and you know what that means. That means that after today's episode, this series is going on a 1 week-ish break. Should be about a week, maybe a couple of days over, but it shouldn't be too much longer, a week to 10 days break, so that I can put together a list of mods to use. After that point, of course, the series becomes vanilla with sprinkles and is either going to be part 31 or part 1 of a vanilla with sprinkles series. Either way, I want to say that right at the beginning because that gives you no excuse to go and complain when there isn't an episode of this in a day or two. Just wanted to get that out of the way. As for today's episode, I was throwing back and forth some ideas. I was thinking that, hey, maybe we should go big, maybe we should do something grand and redevelop a large part of the city, but then I thought, well, that's not really the point of this series. This series isn't really supposed to be a, hey, let's do some grand designs. Now, I will completely admit that there have been episodes where I've spent most of my time designing something, and that's fine, but I never sit down with the intention of doing that. I just play the game and get into doing that. It just sort of happens. So sitting down with the intent of redesigning everything didn't really feel right for the vanilla Let's Play. That being said, that doesn't mean I don't want to put cool stuff in the city. In fact, that's exactly what I want to do today. I want to put in a lot of the unique buildings that we don't currently have. There's things like the hypermarket, the stadium, not the actual functional stadium, but the sports arena stadium. I want to get the London Eye into this city as well. I want to get some cool, unique buildings. I want to have some landmarks around the city because I really don't think it has all that many landmarks at all. Also, as a side note, I've seen a few people complaining and saying that I should move the space elevator from the top of a mountain because it doesn't make sense, and also because it has a dirt road leading up to it. I like it here. I like that it's there because you've got this giant telescope thing looking into space, and you have the space elevator, and it just looks kind of cool from way down the mountain. Anyway, with all of that said and done, it is time to get to work. As you can see, I've turned off the unlimited money mod, and we have less money than we would have had in, the previous episode had I not spent. Basically, the money I spent in the previous episode did count. It's not like I placed buildings and it didn't take the money. There was just no limit on how much money I could have spent. So placing those prisons did still cost me the 120,000 that it would have cost, and placing those police stations did still cost me the 60,000 it cost to place those, and the same with the fire stations. It cost me the 12,000 along with the roads and all that stuff. You just didn't see the money go down because it was unlimited. You did see my income go down, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. A few people were really annoyed and obviously didn't watch the entire video because I explained it at the end of the last one. Anyway, I'm really good at just talking and not doing anything. Apparently, I'm making a career of doing that. So, we have landmarks to place. I would like to get the London Eye in here, and I would like it to be sort of over here. The problem is, the London Eye is kind of big, and technically, it would kind of need to go in an area like this, sort of the way I have this bit of land sticking out. So I kind of want to do that over here. I feel like this is a pretty good little square of land that I could do that sort of thing. So I'm going to try that. It might work. It might not. But you'll never know until you try. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to try. Let's get a fairly small brush with a decent bit of strength to it and just bring out the land. It doesn't really need to go that far. This is already a bit of a distance that I'm bringing it here. But as long as I have enough space to do this, then we're fine. So I'll bring it out sort of like that should be enough. In fact, that is more than enough. Now, this whole area is going to flood, and that is a problem, but the water will recede and go back to the ocean, and everything will be okay once that's done. Whilst that's going on, I do want to have a look about and see what else we have. So we have the hypermarket. The hypermarket, I'm feeling, could go over somewhere like Franklin Hills, if I can make the space for it, because then it's kind of close to Hamilton Heights, and I mean, where do we have a bunch? There's a fair bit of residential zoning in there. There's a fair bit in there as well, I think. Yeah. So there's quite a bit of residential zoning in this area. So a hypermarket would totally make sense. The government offices, I mean, technically should sort of be over here. I don't... Oh, they do. They would fit central as well. Oh, that's tempting. It's tempting to remove these parks and sort of put a little bit of road around the government offices, but I don't think that's a thing I'll do. I think the government offices can maybe go elsewhere. I suppose we do technically have government quarter over here with the courthouse and all that, which is a very distinct looking building for sure, but I'm not necessarily convinced that the government building itself fits alongside it. But it would be an interesting building to have here. I don't know. It feels a little too old for the area, especially since this is an outer area of the city, and that style of building for the government offices really fits in with the European buildings. So it's a difficult one. There's a definite possibility that I could maybe look into changing up this space and sort of throwing the government building in there alongside the university, because it would fit nice and central there, which I think would be cool, but it looks like I'd need to get rid of that bit of road too. Which sucks, because I really don't want to redesign that entire area, but it would work there. It wouldn't work... Well, it would work over there if I got rid of that museum. It would maybe work in that space if I moved the avenue a little bit, but I don't really want to move the avenue, so we have a problem with the government building. We have an old theater, which, to be fair, we also have the opera house over here. Very different things, sort of. But the old theater, to be honest, could very easily just go in one of these spaces. And I feel like the old theater sort of should almost go in one of those spaces kind of simply. And I'm curious to see if it would fit central on a bit of road like this. No, it won't. Which is a shame, because if it fit kind of nicely there, that would have been the perfect spot. Right by this busy junction, because that just... You know, you come up to this busy junction, you see this beautiful old theater. And I think for that reason, I am just going to place it there. Because I just think it just looks really cool. Like, you come along this road under the train line, you're just like, oh, that theater is beautiful. I think it's kind of cool. What I am going to do is I am going to put a pedestrian path behind it, because there were some paths going that way. And I'm also going to put a pedestrian path down there. And I'm going to see. I don't know if this will work, but I'm curious to see if I can get some little trees just sort of down here. Because I think that could look really nice if we just sort of line this side of the theater with a few trees, just to make it look a little bit more elegant, just sort of like that. I do think that's kind of nice. And then the same with the back of it, which is possible. You just have to be very precise with the mouse. There we go. So that just looks kind of nice. It's not an outstanding build. I mean, it's a beautiful building, don't get me wrong, but it's not a giant build. Like, I'm not going to zoom out and go, well, actually, because I know exactly where it is. Let me just do that with a camera for a second. And no, I can still see it. It's a distinct-ish building, but if I wasn't focusing on it right now, it would be a little more difficult to point out. The shopping center, I'm not going to worry about too much. This is actually ready to go, which is great. So let's just pull out a bunch of the decorations here. Like so. Pull all you out as well. Get rid of the trees and all that stuff. And what I want to know is, can I get the London Eye to go in here super, super nicely? And I'm thinking that, to be honest, it might just be best to do a two-way road that sort of goes like, let's say that, then like that. Just something simple. Then the London Eye would just sort of go there-ish. Somewhere there. Like that. That looks alright to me. I think I want to just... I kind of want to tidy it up a little bit. Let's move you to there. And let's do that. And that's a little bit more central. Might be a nightmare for traffic if the London Eye becomes super popular, but I am going to take that chance. I'm also fairly convinced that the London Eye as an asset, actually, yes, forces the terrain to conform to it, sort of. The edges are a little bit naff, but because it forces the terrain to conform to it, that actually makes it easier for the keys to go around there. So that's perfect news for me. Let's just very gently and softly alter the terrain here and sort of there as well. And I'm not curious to know if this is actually gonna work. Now that looks, I'll be honest, that looks dangerous right now. That looks seriously dangerous, but once I get the keys in there, I think we'll be alright. Now the water's going a bit mental. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. It will, it'll go back to doing what it was doing. But I do think having the London Eye right on the coast like that, especially in its own section kind of, you know, jutting out from the line, I think it just looks cool. So with that, let's see if we can get the keys to behave. I'm legitimately curious. I have my doubts. I think we might have to just sort of redo this a little bit. That was not what I wanted to do. Why is it forcing... There we go. So that sort of comes to there. That sort of goes to there. Very steep, but I think that's alright. Let's sort of do... Oh, this does not want to play nice, does it? This does not want to play nice. That's interesting. Why on earth is it doing that? Huh, let's try this side first. We'll do, that curving to there. Why does it want to sink so much? Okay. Maybe I need to bring the land up a little bit. Maybe bring the land up a slight bit would be a good idea. So let's do this. Let's just bring the land up. I'm gonna have to try and tidy this up myself with the very interesting terrain tools that are in the base game. And it's definitely gonna be a challenge to tidy this up with those particular terrain tools, but I reckon I can do it. I am, after all, a seasoned pro at City Skylines. Oh boy. There we go, there we go. Alright, so that should work. That really shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully. That looks like it's behaving better. Alright. Then this should just go straight. Yeah, there we go. Let me turn off snapping, though, so I can get this to go sort of parallel. Parallel? I swear I can speak. Good lord, it's just... Speaking's not going well for me today. What way do I want this to work, though? I kind of want that to... Oh, I kind of want it to look even on all sides, which is going to be tricky. Alright, let's go like that. Then can I get that to turn real nicely? Distance too short. Seriously? Okay, that's an interesting claim. There we go. So that can go to there. That can go sort of straight across like that. That can go sort of like that. That's not even though. Oh, this is gonna be tedious. This is gonna be tedious, isn't it? Well, the short answer to my claim that this would be tedious was actually no. Wasn't anywhere near as tedious as I thought it would be. Having said the words, this is gonna be tedious, isn't it? I then made this work within like 30 seconds. Went ahead and added some trees, made it look alright, and I think we have a pretty nice London Eye. I mean, obviously the curve on the key on the right there is a little bit steep and a little bit janky, but I'm not all that interested in going in and fixing that because the curves on the sticky out bit are actually okay. I think the only change I need to make is putting some small trees out on the end of that. And that's always super, super easy to do because I can just sort of use the trees that already exist in the London Eye asset as a bit of a guide. So if we do sort of this kind of thing, just like so, and then put some trees in those middle bits as well, we have ourselves a nice little line of trees. We'll do that kind of thing too, and that kind of thing. And that looks alright. Just a little bit of detail to make it look like it actually belongs in that particular bit of land. And I'm actually super happy with that. I know it looks a bit weird having those bits sticking out, but it makes it look like the city is, you know, making itself look better. It's like, hey, we need a bit of land here. We want to put up a big old, what do you call? Why can Ferris wheel? There we go. That was the word I was looking for. We want to put up one of those, so let's make some land for it. It's kind of cool. I like it. Weird little bit of land in there, but that's all right. Not too worried about that. So what else do we need? I mean, the shopping center is kind of easy to add into the city, because it's sort of just going to go in like a corner like this, which I think could actually look kind of cool if we get the shopping center in there. So, no, it's not going to fit, is it? Well, that's a shame. I just bulldozed those buildings for nothing, apparently. That said, I kind of want the shopping center in there, so I'm going to bulldoze this road as well. Just because I know for a fact the shopping center can look kind of good when it's on a corner. So putting it in here kind of makes sense. Sort of like that. Because then, you know, you come around here and it's like, hey, shopping center. Lots of advertising and stuff like that. And it's a bit of a smaller building, but a shopping center is a shopping center, and it's always useful to have in areas like this. So we will absolutely have a shopping center. Let's also go ahead and see if I can just do this kind of thing. Connect those together. So there is a nice little pathway going around it. It might actually be a good idea to bulldoze these buildings in general. And bulldoze those as well, and that. Because I could throw some plazas around this thing. Again, sort of making it look almost like parking. Which I don't think is a terrible idea. Just getting some plazas to help decorate the area as well. I mean, it just increases the leisure of the area too, so that's kind of what we're going for. So if I put a plaza there, I mean, that's a couple of little plazas that I could decorate, I guess. I think just maybe some buildings, though. A plaza there is fine, but I think just some buildings over here is maybe a better bet. Or even there, actually. Along that bit might make more sense. Ooh, let's do that instead. Let's do a pathway across there to sort of limit the zoning on that road. Then just do some offices there and there. Which does give us this sort of awkward space back here. But I don't think that's too much of a big deal. I'll do that kind of thing to connect it through. And I'll do... Oh, not that. I'll do that kind of thing to connect through to there as well. And I'd like to do the same just here too. So there we go. We'll D-zone that little bit. And maybe just D-zone those bits too. And then I can just put some trees in there. And that should look okay. It's going to sort of look a bit weird, because it is sort of this almost park-like space surrounded by buildings that's not really going to get much natural light, because the buildings are going to be kind of tall, but it's fine. I'm not too worried about it. It should look pretty decent once it's actually all built up. We'll get a couple of bushes just along there. A couple of bushes down there as well. And I'll sort of line this little space with some bushes too. And this little space as well. Alright, so those buildings should pop up pretty quickly. I mean, this space is full, this space is filling. I'm kind of excited. I think that's a nice little building to have in there. Let's see what else we need. Now, the cathedral is something I definitely want. Amsterdam Palace would be nice as well. The Gherkin is something that I could probably place this somewhere. Even there would be a reasonable spot for it. I just don't know if it'll fit central there. What is that district? That is... What is this district? Sterling District. Wasn't Sterling District my... No, that was a residential district. Never mind. What is the Gherkin? Like, what does it have a description? The eccentric skyscraper is a hub for financial business and has a very nice restaurant with a 360-degree view at the top floor. So, that kind of belongs in... Aha! Madison Square. That was sort of my financial district, but it now has that in the middle of it, so that doesn't really make sense. Where else do we have a bunch of financial buildings? I mean, down here, but that's a bit far from the city center. That's a little far from the city center to have a building like the Gherkin, which also won't really fit central there, so that's just perfect. It will fit central there. What is this district? This is Sterling District again, isn't it? Okay, we're going to put it there. We're going to put it in this space because it'll fit central in this road and also has a metro station. Oh, for God's sake. It won't fit. It would have sort of fit central except for the metro station itself. So really putting it on the other side would have made more sense. Except there's a metro station there as well. Okay, you know what? I don't care. It's going there. It's an interesting looking building. It does slightly tower over everything else in the area, but I mean, with it being such a unique building, I think that's kind of okay. It really is such a weird-looking building. I do like it, though. I've always sort of liked that building, despite it being sort of weird. Sort of really weird, but that's alright. So now that the Gherkin has a home and the London Eye off in the distance has a home, we do still have some unique buildings to go around and place as well. We still have the government offices and Amsterdam Palace. The hypermarket still needs to go in. We're not done yet. Still got buildings to place and still got areas to slightly redevelop to place them. So, with that, I reckon it's time to go ahead and place the cathedral, which I kind of want to give its own space. It would have been nice to put the cathedral sort of in here, but, I mean, what lines? Yeah, that's a residential area. I feel like giving it its own proper space is something I want to do. It's just a case of finding that space. Now, the cathedral being such an old building does mean that it can sort of go anywhere, because it might almost... I mean, you could say that this city started in this area, and then a cathedral was built, or a church of some sort would have been built way out here, and it's like, hey, you have to trek out to church. So, that is a thing I could do, but I don't really want to just place it in the middle of nowhere. This thing is also slightly too big to go between those roads, and those roads as well. So it is properly going to need its own space. So let's figure out where that's gonna be. Part of me is tempted to redevelop the Wood District, because I think that could be a nice place for it. I mean, living next to a cathedral would maybe make people happy. What I could do is sort of make a space in the middle here. Sort of, you know, you come out of the cathedral and here's this giant park. I think that could kind of work. So, I mean, what is the midpoint we'd be looking at here? If I do that, that is, now that is that's 40 units at that point. So that's like 52. So 26 units is the middle. No, that's 25. That's 26. Does that work? Yeah, that's the middle of this area. All right. Let's see if I can make this work. Now, unfortunately, the cathedral isn't actually going to sit properly central here, I don't think. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Let's just de-zone these buildings and get them out of here so I can see what's going on. So let's go 5 units to either side of this thing. Which, it looks like 4, but it's 5 units either way. Now that is not going to be big enough. So that's fine. Bulldoze those. Let's go a bit further. Let's go... I think that's like 8 or 9. Sort of like that. So is that big enough? That is. Which is good. So let me just go ahead and bulldoze that bit of road. And then place the cathedral. Which I think looks beautiful. I really do think that looks beautiful. Now the thing here is that technically this district isn't supposed to connect to this bit of avenue, but I'm going to have to change that for the sake of the cathedral. So let me just connect... Well, actually, do I? I don't think I do, because technically speaking, I mean, the bus can just sort of go around that way. Those roads still connect through the district, so that's actually all right. So that's good. I really like this positioning. Why is snapping not really working? That's really weird that snapping apparently doesn't want to work up here. So there we go. And there we go. We're not going to put zoning here. And these buildings will sort of redevelop anyway. Let me just bulldoze this entire area. Just so these buildings will rebuild properly. So there we go. That whole area has been bulldozed. We reconnect this path. We reconnect this path. And that should build quite nicely. Which I'm excited for. I'm actually really excited to see this build properly. Can I connect? Can I connect to the cathedral? I can connect like that. Which I suppose is fine. I don't think there's anywhere else I can connect to. No. which I suppose is fine. That's not really a big deal. I think that's all right. So that should look pretty good. I would like to get a couple of trees in there, obviously. I'm thinking sort of these lighter trees, just in those little spaces. And if we let those buildings build, which is going to take a little while because there's not really any residential zoning demand, you know, people don't really want residential zoning right now. So it might take a little while, but I think that looks good. I think that is a nice place for the cathedral to exist. I'm kind of happy with that. I am really, really happy with that. And I'm excited to see these buildings get constructed as well. So now that the cathedral's in, we still have the sports arena, government offices, hypermarket. Hold on. Hypermarket, government offices, sports arena, Amsterdam Palace, and that's it. Obviously, I still have... Do I have buildings in here to place? Oh, yeah, I do. I totally do. I still have the servicing services office, which, to be fair, I think is a reasonable enough building to put in an area like even that, to be honest. Not gonna put it there because I like the park in that space, but it is a building that could totally go in one of these more modern-looking areas. What about over here? There's still some tall buildings in this area, and to be fair, it's an edge of the city. It probably shouldn't be that tall, but it could go in there. Where do we not really have taller buildings? In this cluster, there's not really much in here. So what if the servicing services offices? That's a lot of... Wow, that's a lot of words. That's not a lot of words. It's 3 words, but servicing services offices is, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Let's throw it in there. Let's get rid of that park and just be like, hey, giant building. There you go. And it looks all right because it actually has like this big concrete thing going around it, so it looks kind of proper. I like it. I actually think that looks kind of cool. Looks kind of cool. Also has like the ramps going up to it and stuff like that, so I like that. I legitimately really like that building, despite the fact I destroyed a park to place it. I still think it's a cool building. I also think that maybe I could run a path to there, which will get you to the good old metro. And if I did that, can you go into the school? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if people will actually use that little bit of path, but it looks all right, I suppose. Yeah, I like that building. So that's that sorted. We still have the Cathedral of Plentitude to place. I'm not going to bother, I'm going to be honest. We also still have like the casino, we still have the driving range, the fantastic fountain, we have the luxury hotel, which is actually bigger than the servicing services offices, but I mean, it could go where? I feel like I saw it flash green for a second. Maybe I didn't. But I could swear I saw this thing flash green for like a second somewhere. I don't know where I could put this. It's a really big building, and it's also not the kind of prettiest looking building. So I don't actually know if I even want this building in here, but I mean, it is another building that we could place. Oh, it could go in there. Do I want it to go in there? I mean, it's not going to have a great view if it's in there. I feel like the best place for it to go would be like anywhere but there. Even there would be better if I changed this bit of avenue, which I could do. Like, that doesn't need to be an avenue. So if I was to turn that into like a road line with like this. Now, I know that messes with the zoning of these buildings, but that's not really a big deal because I'm probably going to place this, which unfortunately still can't go in there. There's nothing on this road, so I'm just going to do this like so, and then just plop this in there. It's a weird look. It's a giant building. It is a really big, obnoxious building, but if there's somewhere that a building like that's going to go, you know, it's going to be there. It's absolutely going to be there. So I think that's okay. As for this, I mean, it can go sort of like that, then sort of there. So we can still get some buildings in this space, which I do still want to do. So if I do like that, that's fine. That's totally fine by me. And then I could even continue that down to there if I wanted to, which I think I will just for the sake of it. Get rid of that zoning, and do something like that, and bulldoze and get rid of that. So that's fine. That totally works. Totally messes with my park design I had in there, but that should be alright. It looks alright. It's an enormous building, but we can imagine that some person with way too much money came in and was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all this land, I'm gonna build the biggest tower in the city. Even though, actually, that is one of the biggest buildings in the city, despite being on a lower plane of land. I'm kind of glad I put it there. It's not towering over everything else. Still tall, but not taller. As for the casino, the driving range, this fantastic fountain, and the zoo, I'm gonna leave those for a later point, because I feel like the zoo should go sort of in its own little spot. I don't really think it belongs in the middle of a city. As for the sports arena, I mean, I don't really know where it should go. It's sort of a stadium, sort of not a stadium. It's slightly outdated by the actual stadium, which I could put in this space. The actual stadium wouldn't look terrible in here, but I kind of want to leave the actual stadium until I can get... I'm gonna make some... I think I'll make like a couple of custom assets in the game, because that's technically not modding, sort of. Just so I can have a couple of my own little parking lots, because that is something I absolutely need. Which I'll then use for the stadium. As for the hypermarket, I mean, I kind of want to put it over here. It's just a really big building. It could go there, but it looks a little silly on the edge of a city. Let's see. Would in there fit? No. Oh, it is a big building. Maybe we'll do the government offices first. I feel like putting the government offices in here. I just really like the symmetry of that area. As for here, I mean, we'd have to get rid of the friggin' avenue, which I don't think is a good idea. That said, whilst that avenue's busy, it could be a bit smaller. Although it is a fairly major avenue that runs the whole way through that part of the city, so making it smaller is maybe a bad idea. As for over here, I mean, what I could do, and this is a risky play, it's a bold move, but it checks out, is I could move this bus stop to there for a moment, which is still gonna, you know, it's gonna break the bus line, but that's fine. And then I bulldoze these buildings, and I bulldoze those buildings, and I get the government office, and I bulldoze that road. And I need to move the medical clinics. So the medical clinics can live to those sides. The government office can then live there, because it does sort of fit with the university. Slightly different looking style of building, but it does sort of fit. What I'm then thinking is that these roads could come in for a second, like kind of come into here, similar to what I did, where did I do it? With the cathedral. I sort of have the roads come in and then back around. So if I did that here, we have a very similar layout to the cathedral, except it's not a cathedral. So if I do that, and then do the same on this side, that bus can still function. In fact, that bus can just stop in front of the government offices like that, giving people better access to this metro station. So I'm doing them a favor by bulldozing buildings. That was obviously my plan this whole time. If you weren't following, then that's your fault, not mine. I am, of course, being sarcastic, and that's just a benefit of, that's just sort of happened, is what's happened there. That's just sort of happened. Let's go ahead and do... I'm going to do some offices there. Then I'll do some offices in that spot too. And I do think maybe going ahead and turning these into some roads with trees on them is also a particularly good idea. As for you, I kind of wanted that to connect straight through. There we go. All right. That looks fine. That looks completely fine to me. These people can all get on the bus and go about their business. We have some buildings going up, and I think that's a nice little place for the government offices to exist. And when this builds up, it's going to look like it's belonged in that area this whole time. As for the last three buildings, we also have Amsterdam Palace, which I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I really don't know. What am I going to do with Amsterdam Palace? It'll fit central, but there's nowhere I can put it. It's a beautiful building, but there's just no room for it. Unless I put it opposite that. Which I could do, it's just going to be off-center, which I really don't want it to be. Let's see, what about up there? Oh, that would fit. Okay, that fire station is going away. Oh, but then there's a metro station too. Could I move that metro station? I feel like I could move the metro station over here and it'd be fine. So let's let's try that. You remember when I said I wasn't gonna completely redesign the city? Yeah, that went well. Bulldoze that metro station. Plop one just there, I guess. Yeah, that'll do. Plop one just there. Connect you... Hold on. Connect you to there. And you to there. Then just add the stops back to that station. And anyone waiting for that train just has to go over that way. As for the fire station, I mean, it's useful, but it's no Amsterdam Palace. Which I want in here, so... Oh, yeah. I need to get rid of that road, too. Alright. No problem. I'll get rid of any road. That can go there. And that looks alright. It's an interesting building. I would have liked it to face the other way, but... Well, we can't have everything, so that's alright. Can I run a little dirt path through there that connects to the park? No. No, I cannot. Okay. Well, that's a shame. I can do that, though. And then that sort of connects. Which I guess is alright. I mean, if I upgrade you and upgrade you and upgrade that... Sure. Sure. That'll do. I like it. I'm actually really enjoying this. I know it's probably the most boring thing you've ever watched, and I do apologize, but I'm really enjoying going in and finally getting these buildings in here, even if I never look at them again. It's just kind of fun. I think I'm going to skip the sports arena. That's the one thing I will say. I think the sports arena is just something I can't really do without having a bunch of parking lots, and I don't currently have those, so... I think the sports arena is something worth skipping until we can do the stadium and do it properly once we have a few mods. So let's see, where is the hypermarket going to go? I kind of feel like giving this area some love and maybe throwing a hypermarket out here. Also, that traffic, good lord. Might want to do something about that. But I do kind of feel like giving this area some love. And I feel like putting a hypermarket out here would maybe be a bit much. But I could design an area for it. Like, if I designed a hypermarket to sort of go in here, I think that could be fun. Or out here-ish. I'm kind of feeling it there, because that is a nice straight road for it, too. So, let's do that. Let's put a hypermarket out of here, out this way. Let's do a little bit of road like that. Don't know why it's one way. Let's do a little bit of avenue. Like that. It's probably not going to be too busy, to be honest. So I don't think I need a whole heap of road. So if we do that, let's just do like a little... Let's do 10 units that way and that way, just so I can measure the size of this building. So it will fit... It's not going to fit central, and that's probably okay. That's not much of a big deal. So let's do that. And that. So this is going to have a little kind of one-way system going around, which I'm okay with. Let's do that, which is like 5, and then 5, and then 5. And do a little angled piece there. And then maybe continue it. What if I do put it on an angle? I mean, that's interesting. I could make that sort of a little retail park. Maybe? Maybe that was better when it was just a little... Oh, I have to do all that again. I have to do the measurements again. Ay, ay, ay. Alright. Do that. Just have the little angled piece there. Then throw the hypermarket just sort of there on that bit of road, perhaps? Or... Hold up a moment. I do that kind of thing. And just have that angled that way as well. And then... do that. Could I get the hypermarket in there? Yes, I could. And I like that. I know that this is a complete waste of space over here, but I like it. And that's kind of the important thing here. So, if I do that, I can get some pretty cool buildings out here, which I think is totally worth doing. Let's see, can I get that to go there and get that to go there? And connect those together? No, that's fine. So those are technically connected. I can get some buildings out here. I don't really know what kind of buildings I would put out here, but I can get some buildings. Is there anything I could place? I mean, obviously, I still have a park somewhere, right? I had something to place, I think. Maybe not. I could do some plazas. That's a definite possibility, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit carried away with the plazas. Though I'll do them anyway, because there's really not much else I can add out to this space. We'll just bring a pathway across there. And I'll bring a pathway sort of up through there. And I like it. I do. That just gonna make sense to me. Like, that's something you kind of find in a lot of UK towns, is you'll find like a big Asda or a big Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Morrison's sort of is along a road that's kind of almost a ring road. Like this road here, like, this does go sort of around the city. Like if you can take this road to get out to the residential areas, as opposed to having to go through the city. It's kind of a ring road. You would find something like this on a ring road, which I like. I am kind of happy with that. I could put a basketball court out there. I don't think that would make too much sense. We have a skate park I could throw out there, but again, I don't think that would make too much sense. We do have those things as well. Hold on a minute. I'm going to come back to that. I just want to see, can I do like, I totally could do that. I mean, it's very high from the water is the only downside. Like, that looks ridiculous at that height. Jet ski rental. You just need a crane. Oh no, this is cool. People are actually coming out to get to the hypermarket, and I'm okay with that. That's actually cool. I know there's not that many cars, but I didn't really expect anyone to really want to go to this thing, so seeing people actually going to it is pretty cool. Also, I mean, some of them might be going to the parks, but that's fine. I think the only downside, of course, is that they are parking on the roads as opposed to in the parking lots. But really, that was a fairly easy fix by just swapping it out for some roads with grass alongside it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for today. That is going to be it for part 30 of the vanilla Let's Play. And like I said at the beginning, that means that there is going to be a 1-week break between this episode and the next of the Cities Skylines Let's Play. When this series returns, either as part 31 or part 1 of a vanilla with sprinkles Let's Play, there will be a few mods. I'm not going to be picking out the mods immediately as this video is posted, so if there are some mods that aren't hugely game-changing or that add a whole bunch of buildings and different types of roads that you would like to see in the follow-up series or the follow-up episodes, do feel free to post them in the comments below. Now, I do block links in my YouTube comments, so just post the name of the mod, and I can have a look for it myself on the Steam Workshop. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, thank you kind of for watching. This has been part 30 of the vanilla Let's Play. Once we're back in this city, we will have some mods, and it's going to be vanilla with sprinkles. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye!